Hi everybody, I'm back. Thank you for indulging us once again. Today I wanted to speak about a number of things, and I want to again thank you all who have been paying attention and sharing the knowledge and information as well as studying on your own. Today I am back at the place where the tunnel is and where I've been singing a cappella there. This is an adjacent community center. I think it's called Ike Owings. I like the location because of the fountain in the background. I decided to come a little bit later in the day today to avoid the maintenance machines. Something important seems to be going on here today. Families are here. Maybe there's a wedding. Maybe a child is having a birthday party. So across the park is a lot more activity and there will be a lot more noise. So thank you for being here. I have called Mama Nebthet in and asking for her guidance in this production, as well as the entire Impromptu Nebthet musical. Again, I wanted to say that it is unfortunate that in today's world, people need things very quickly. While many of the presentations are being viewed a lot, I fear that people are just watching them one time and are not going back and studying. And so as someone who considers himself to be someone to impart information, we have to repeat things over and over and over, like I've done in song and teachings about the principles of the chakras, abiding those principles. All is one, honor one another, respect yourself, love is divine power, surrender personal will to divine will, seek only the truth, and live in the present moment of awareness. Well, living in that present moment of awareness is where the magic happens, but for me lately it has been very difficult. I have shared with you all about the physical pain that I am in with this issue in my root chakra, whether it's an entity attachment, whether it's the ask God, whether it's some part of the process of becoming Christ on the planet. You know, I don't know. All I know is that I'm in pain. Urinating and defecating is very difficult. You should hear me trying to just pass urine, you know, and since Kundalini is purifying my body, I go quite a lot, and so it's very painful. So I'm still seeking healing. Today I called in some of those entities that Bobby Hemmett has talked about. I did a little bit of altar work seeking help for this issue so that I won't lose the will to go on. And even if I do choose to end things, you know, let it be a celebration that at least while I was here, I did all I could to make life better for us and help us understand. I have studied and I've also shared that information. Thank you to everyone who's involved in that process. Again, I am demonstrating an open throat chakra and heart chakra. You know, while I might not want to say certain things, the principle of the throat Vishuddha chakra is to surrender your personal will to divine will. And I believe that sharing the experience of surviving a bogus HIV diagnosis, the stigma, and everything that goes along with that, many people who did not survive are not here to share the trauma of living with it on a daily basis. So I feel compelled to share those things. One other thing I just realized, I decided to again begin wearing the Eye of Heru. I listened to Nazir Ra the other day, and he was talking about attacks. You know, I've been under attack. I am under attack, and maybe some of you are as well. But he talked about the importance of wearing the Eye of Heru when you're out and about in public. And so I took mine off of the rear view in my car, you know, created another string, and I have it here. It kind of weighs on your neck and can make it uncomfortable, but, you know, I need to do all that I can to protect myself. So I'm wearing this. You may recall it from my Kundalini and Shiva presentation. I was wearing it, I believe, in that presentation. But anyway, I'm glad to have it. I'm feeling a little bit better. I have to make sure that I'm clear before I sit down and do these presentations, because, having to use the bathroom distracts my attention. So anyway, opening heart chakra. We cannot ascend the lower chakras of embodiment into the higher centers unless we have gained some level of tweaking consciousness about that heart chakra. And it does not involve manipulating others. It involves inclusion and acceptance. So we can ascend through the throat to the Anja chakra, where those opposites again aren't seen as good and bad. There's something about that level of awareness that I long for, hoping that it will help me during this time. Okay, let me refer to my notes here. We have been talking about Bobby Hemmett and how important his presentations and teachings about advanced mythology really are. Understanding of Adal Dabroth, Zeus, Jesus, the archons, and counterfeit spirits that are impacting us, causing this patriarchal fight to not lose power as the Divine Mother ushers back in. And a lot of people, a lot of our own people, I think, unbeknownst even to them, they think they're being all macho. They think that they are asserting their own masculinity, having been demasculinized by society. And so they look down on members within our community, people like myself, and they go on the attack. Sometimes I'll watch my presentation, and right after mine, if it's about homophobia, it'll be some group of black men standing all military and just railing against people like me, not realizing what it is they're doing. First of all, they are resisting the emerging divine feminine energies by being over masculinized and not looking within themselves, in choosing to lash out at others rather than go within themselves to improve themselves. So I had to get that on record, that I want to be known for saying that, even though, I hope I don't look up and they're attacking someone like me. But even if they do, it is not going to matter how I feel about myself. I wouldn't be here today if I didn't love me. And nobody can change that. I don't care what they do or say. So you need to understand that. Look within yourself to improve yourself rather than looking for someone to put down, because that is not going to help any of our situation as we try to unify as a people and weather this tumultuous time that we are in. I need to change arms here. So I've said that. Enough of that. Let's see here. Oh, I mentioned to you all that daily I wake up and I began to watch the Damian Laster YouTube channel, Conscious Doctor YouTube channel playlist. After today, there will be 200 presentations. Today, I was watching the one about when I was in Bessemer, and I thought back to how difficult it was when I was in Birmingham to get my book into libraries. I surmised that perhaps they saw my dreadlocks or something, and I'd go in and tell them about who I was and the fact that I felt my book should be on the shelf. And then it would take months sometimes to actually get my book coded and then placed on the shelves. I did learn, too, that I had to follow up and go back, perhaps call the library and see if my book was available. And sometimes I'd find that my book was not on the shelf. Had someone removed it. There in Bessemer, I left 4 copies. I bought those myself and donated those. So that's a lot of money for somebody to come along. I guess when they see Kundalini or chakras or there is no HIV, they become fearful and they take my book off the shelf. So I have to follow up. Now, when I moved here to Douglasville, I did the same thing down in Atlanta and out here. My book is supposed to be available in 2 libraries here. The one at Dog Park, where Davita and I did our interview, as well as when Mama Nebthet showed up in butterfly form, as well as the other library where I did a lot of teaching there and posting about our ancient history on the boards there. And, I had a few people to show up at those lessons. But my book was not available there. they couldn't find it on the shelf. And of course they come up with all sort of excuses and whatnot. And then when I went downtown to the Central Library in Atlanta, Fulton County, I had to go back several times even there. And finally I got in touch with someone who was in charge of making those types of decisions, and she said, well, you know, we created a table for all the new authors, and the book is now available there. I think I received an email about that. Well, I haven't been able to make it down there to document that. You know, I'll go and I'll take a picture of the book on the shelf, take a picture of myself standing there with it, because to me this information is important to everyone, not just some people. But lately I have learned that there is fear about the return of the Divine Mother, knowledge about Kundalini, and so I have to follow up, as well as sit before you and repeat things that I've already said, hoping that it is soaking in and can eventually make some changes. But I wouldn't be able to do that without continually studying Bobby Hemmett presentations, which are just amazing, awesome, and help us understand what is happening here, and then accepting the truth when we learn it. Okay, so black people are in the process of being eradicated planet-wide. Even out here in Douglasville, you know, I wish I had known more about home buying and those types of things. I had always lived in a high-rise apartment somewhere and within the city where there's a lot of different types of people. But out here in the suburbs, I can clearly see Hispanics are everywhere. I don't have anything against Hispanics or anyone, but you can clearly see that few black people are here. And I believe at that center where I was doing my internship, I believe those people are what will be considered collateral damage. Some of them displaced from housing projects, perhaps clones themselves, people who were dealing with the fallout of drugs being placed in our communities. Now, people who receive funding to run places like that, those are political decisions that are made, perhaps to appear again, as we've learned, to disguise murder as philanthropy or some type of control of the people while appearing to want to help. And so I hate to say it, but I just don't trust a whole lot of what goes on based on my own personal, direct, past, present, and current and future things that I have to deal with. And so there's nothing good comes from pretending that nothing major is happening, because it is all around us all the time, and we have to be vigilant in exposing it and standing up and fighting against that. And so I wanted to say that. I'm right here at 13 minutes. I'm sure there's something else that I've left out, but I may be back tomorrow, because every day I have to get out. I have to do something to feel like I do have a life. I do have meaning. I do have purpose, and I want to encourage you all that you do too. You know, every day we're here, we got to take some sort of action to help ourselves. Okay. I am Dr. Damien Q. Laster, the Conscious Doctor Rainbow Warrior, aka Dr. Kabir Amin Ra Ampul Sarset Harakti, Metaphysical Science. We are the progenitors of culture and civilization on this planet, and we must be respected. You know, you cannot replace us. I don't care what garb you wear, or the fact that you are ignorant of who's responsible for culture on this planet, because it is us, and I am here to uphold that and uphold our ancestors, and look forward to fully activating the third eye so we can move this process forward. Every day to me is a pain in the literal you know what. Okay, I love you. Have a good day. Tum Ra. Goodbye.